I'm the ASMR psychologist. Welcome to my channel. Now, today we are going to be doing the final of the alphabetical personality tests. Now, so far we have looked at type A, B, and last week type C. So if you missed those, I will pop the playlist for you just up here, because the way to get the best out of these types of personality tests, if they come in a series like this, is to do all of them and then see where most of your personality traits cluster. Because personalities are complex things, and it's never the case that we're either one thing or another. Personality kind of exists on a continuum, so it's common for most people to have some traits on all of the personality continuums or categories. But what you're looking for is where most of your characteristics lie. This will give you the most valuable information, the best understanding of yourself, because of course the more we understand about ourselves, the stronger position we place ourselves in if we need to make a change. Okay. And if you like this type of video where I take you through personality tests, let me know by giving me an up thumb. And of course, if you haven't already joined my community, please consider subscribing. Okay, so last week, as I said, we looked at type C, which stands for, I guess, conscientious. Today, we're looking at type D, which stands for distressed. The way to get the most from this test is to answer as honestly as you can. It may be difficult to acknowledge that some of these things do describe you, but it's important for your understanding of yourself that you try to acknowledge those that do. Okay, so today's test has 26 questions in total, divided into two sections. The first section, with 13 questions, looks at mood. The second section, again with 13 questions, looks at our social persona. And as always, with these tests, very simply, yes or no answers, and just try and keep a mental note or an actual note of how many yeses you get. And then at the end, I will talk you through what it means. Okay, so if you're ready, let's begin. Okay, so section 1, question 1. Are you often in a bad mood? Yes or no? Question 2. Do you often find yourself worrying about something? Yes or no? Question 3. Do you often make a fuss about unimportant things? Question 4. Are you a glass half empty kind of person? Yes or no? Question 5. Do you often feel hopeless? Question 6. Do you lack self-confidence? Question 7. Do you often feel irritable? Yes or no? Question 8. Do you have a pessimistic outlook? Question 9. Do you have a self-critical train of thought or voice in your head often? Question 10. Do you often appear gloomy? Yes or no? Question 11. Do you bottle things up? Yes or no? Okay, 2 more questions in this section. Question 12. Are you often accused of being grumpy? Okay, final question. Do you suspect that you don't really know how to be happy? Yes or no? Okay. So that's the end of the first section, looking at mood. Now, another 13 questions, looking at your social persona. Okay, so question 1. Do you find relationships difficult? Yes or no? Question 2. Do you fear judgment? Yes or no? Question 3. Do you fear rejection? Yes or no? Question 4. Do you avoid social situations? Question 5. Do you find it hard to trust people? Question 6. Are you often quiet in a group? Yes or no? Question 8. Do you find it difficult to meet people? Question 9. Do you tend not to share your problems with others because you fear it will burden them? Yes or no? Okay, 4 more questions. Question 10. Do you find it hard to start a conversation? Question 11. Are you easily overwhelmed in a tricky situation? Question 12. Do you often feel as if you are being watched? And final question. Do you struggle to connect with others? Okay. Okay, so just take a moment to dot up the number of yeses that you got, and then we will look at the results and what they mean. So, as I said, these personalities that we're trying to describe with these tests are a continuum. You're not either type D, or you're definitely not. You're somewhere on this continuum. It's quite common for most people to answer yes to a few of these questions, but as I said at the beginning, it's about where most of your yeses or characteristics cluster. So take a look at all of the tests in this series before you draw any conclusions. But I think if you're looking at about 6, 7, 8 yeses, it's an indication that this personality type is relevant for you. You've probably guessed from the way that the test was set out that there are kind of 2 main characteristics of this personality type. The first is negative emotions. The second is a kind of social inhibition. So if you are this personality type or have lots of features of this personality type, you may be anxious, quite lonely, maybe traumatized, and as a result your mental health will suffer. But it's interesting because you maybe don't experience anxiety and depression in terms of your mood, so how you feel, because you have a tendency to suppress negative emotions, to try and push them to one side, to try and block them out. So it may not necessarily be immediately obvious to other people or even to yourself that you do struggle with your mood. And in social situations you do tend to, avoid them or withdraw, particularly from new situations. This personality type is at risk of developing anxiety-related disorders, particularly if exposed to environmental stressors. So, military personnel with type D personality are more vulnerable to developing post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, for example. This type of personality definitely struggles with relationships. They find it very hard to connect with people on more than just a superficial level. They often feel that they're outsiders, that they don't really belong. Can feel quite uncomfortable in social situations. Now, people with this personality type are at risk of both mental and physical health problems. So if you do find that you have a lot of yeses here, that many of your characteristics are clustering around a type D, it's worth considering making a change. That can feel quite daunting, I think. Quite overwhelming to change what may feel like quite fundamental aspects of our personality. But easier said than done, but try not to be overwhelmed because it's certainly possible. These aren't necessarily traits you've been born with that are in your kind of genetic makeup. They are coping strategies, ways of dealing with your environment, particularly your early environment, your early experiences. You adapted to survive and you've kind of retained those ways of interacting. So where to start? I would be tempted to watch my Psychologist Roleplays, because the key for you, if you have a type D personality, is to tackle that negative self-talk, that self-critical voice, but also to find a way of experiencing and tolerating your negative emotions and then responding to what they're telling you, to the information that they're alerting you to, rather than just trying to ignore them, deny them, dismiss them. And those role plays contain a lot of techniques and strategies to help you to deal with those things. The role plays also help you over time to build your confidence in social situations. Now, these types of changes don't occur overnight, but I think if you can work consistently over a number of months, you will start seeing the benefits, noticing changes in yourself. Okay, so hopefully that's given you something to think about. I hope that if you have discovered that you are a type D personality, it doesn't feel too daunting. But of course, if you do have any worries, put them in the comments and we'll see what we can do. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with your friends. As I often say, I love my job. My real job is a clinical psychologist, but in that job I can only ever help one person at a time, and here on YouTube there's the potential to help thousands of people. So. And if you are interested in supporting me making these videos, or you just fancy some exclusive behind the scenes content, you can pop over to Patreon. The link should pop up here. Okay. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining me today. It was nice spending time with you, and I hope that you enjoy whatever it is you're doing now.